Let's talk about the hospitality sector before we get into your fund, and just give us a sense of the opportunities you see in Nigeria. Obviously, we've seen quite a few hotels popping up in Lagos. That seems to be a big opportunity. But looking much more broadly, where are opportunities in Nigeria?
I think we've identified that not only in Lagos is there an opportunity, but there's an opportunity within the whole of Nigeria. As the markets are growing, as the economy is being driven here by oil and gas and by the telecommunications and also the finance industry as they start growing, this is bringing in more businessmen, not only internationally, but local businessmen traveling within Nigeria. So yes, we do see a big number of hotels coming up in Lagos, but I think there are opportunities within the hotel sector as well in other secondary cities.
Let's talk a bit about the secondary cities, because obviously most people think Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt,
yes,
just simply because of government, oil, and of course commerce in Lagos. But outside those three places, how is a fund like yours looking to extract opportunities outside those cities?
With the strategy that we've got, you'll see we're also into 2- and 3-star hotels, and we'll invest into 2- and 3-star hotels. Getting into the lower end market, into the cheaper market as well. But we see an opportunity there with a good quality standard, limited service hotels we can get into. That's how we would go into the secondary cities.
So why launch a fund? Give us a sense about the features of this fund. Exactly how do investors get in? And just a short summary of what it's all about.
Okay. ARM many years ago identified that there was a growing sector in hospitality and retail. So to get into that market, they wanted to start this fund. Traditionally, what happens nowadays is that an investor invests in a single property. So he'll invest in a single retail center or a single hotel. With the fund now, we're aiming to get a broad base and a diversified asset base. That's by giving the investor now an opportunity to get into a fund where he's not only in one asset, but in a diversified, and we're going to build our asset base up. And that's going to be some of the investors' incentive to come in. It's not just one product, and it's a diversified product. We're not just looking at high-end 4-star hotel. We're also looking at the 2- and 3-star market. The same in retail, where we're looking at Western style, upper scale malls and shopping centres, entertainment centres, but also then in mid-tier, more traditional markets, like the lock-up shops and the more traditional market that we know in Nigeria.
I mean, this is not totally a new fund, is it? Because you are invested already in certain hotels, am I right?
Almost. What's happened is that it is a new fund, which actually launched today. But what has happened is the initial sponsors, ARM and Custodian and Allied, have brought in their equity shares in existing assets, being the 4 Points by Sheraton in Lagos, and also the future 4 Points by Sheraton in Ikeja, which is under pre-construction, and the Trinity Gardens Mall and Shopping Centre, which is also under pre-construction at the moment. So there are existing assets, but this is one of our strategies as well. The fund has a viable platform to start off with. It has an income-generating asset that's in the fund, plus we've got a project. But over and above that, we also have a strong pipeline of projects, both in Lagos, but as we also discussed, we've got some pipeline projects outside of Lagos as well that we're currently looking at.
And how much are you looking to raise from this fund?
Our initial closing today was at $30 million, and we're looking to take that up for the second closing at $80 million.
And that will be by, do you have a timeline for that?
We're hoping to do that in the first half of this year, and we're quite confident and positive that we will get there pretty soon. With the interest that's been shown already, with our pre-marketing and looking at investors, we're pretty confident we'll get there.
Talk to us about the retail segment, because obviously you're not only investing in hospitality, you're also investing in commercial property for retail. Give us a sense of how the market is structured in Nigeria.
Well, as you know, Nigeria is the most populous nation in Africa. There's also a big emerging market in the disposable incomes as a new middle class evolves within the growing economy within Nigeria. With that and disposable incomes, there's going to be a need for shopping malls and retails. A lot of Nigerians travel overseas to shop. So what we're trying to do is bring that shopping to them in Nigeria. That's on the high-end scale for the people who travel. But again, for the lower end, we're also looking at the more traditional markets, but giving it a like we did in Olewale, just an upscale and make it better and invest in these markets. There's a huge market out there just by sheer numbers, first of all. But with that growing income, I think we feel that we're quite confident that there's a retail market that's developing. Also, with the slackening of import, new products are going to come in, new retailers can come in. The retailers are actively looking for opportunities and helping in negotiations and actively working with these retailers. We can also get opportunities to invest into the actual properties.
And let's go back to the structure of the fund, particularly asset allocation. How are you diversifying between the hospitality segment and, of course, your retail investments?
Within the hotels division and in that sector, like I said, we're going into the upmarket 4-star hotels, market like the 4 Points. And then we're also looking at 2- and 3-star branded hotels, both internationally, but also for locally branded. One of our strategies is to try and develop a national brand within our fund. That would be a local managed brand as well. On the retail side, we're also looking at the upper scale Western style malls, like you get in Johannesburg, London, so on. But then we're looking at the more traditional ones as well.
But in terms of, should I say, weighting, how are you allocating between hospitality and then the retail? Can you give us a sense of that?
We haven't got a weighting for that.
Okay,
we
so
want to
there's
no straight weighting. We want to diversify it. We want to give a diverse, because if there's a downturn in upper market, we still got a lower end market that can support us. So there's no weighting to that. We want a diversified asset base as much as possible.
So who can invest in this? Do you have any limits, investor restrictions?
Yes, we are a privately managed fund, so we're not a public fund. So, but anybody can invest, but there is a minimum entry level into the fund.
And that minimum is?
Is $500,000
Okay.
equivalent in Naira. It is a Naira denominated fund.
Oh, I see. All right. Well, sounds like something for institutions. Okay, let's talk a bit more about the broader property market, because obviously you are investing within that segment. There's been a lot of talk about a downturn in that segment. What has been your experience at the area?
I think everybody's taken in the last couple of years with the economic downturn. Most sectors have taken a knock. So I think we also saw that, and there was a downturn, but it's starting to come back. What's also going to help maybe on the real estate side is as banks also become more commercially minded in Nigeria, which we've seen, and they start seeing it as a commercial business and not just purely as a transaction. As bank lending, bank financing becomes cheaper and tenors become a bit longer, more and more people will be spending money on real estate.